Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I want to talk about operating systems and software for your creative suite. I was prompted to make this video because I've been seeing all the notifications out there in my feeds about how, the older version of Windows is no longer going to be supported with security updates and things like that, and that people need to upgrade. I know a couple people who are in that situation, and they're kind of like, reluctant to change. If you have an older system, so many times, both in Macintosh world and also in Windows world, you have to upgrade your machine so that it can keep up with new operating systems. They get greedier and greedier with the amount of RAM that they need. And so a lot of times creatives are faced with this, challenge where it's like, oh, all of a sudden, all these things that I've been using forever are either going to be obsolete or I have to buy a new machine. So there are options out there. The option that I chose 8 years ago was to go ahead and switch over to Linux-based systems. They are not greedy when it comes to RAM. I have 3 full creative suites, all on little Dell laptops. They're not expensive computers. These are computers I bought refurbished for around $250 a pop. They have 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is more than adequate to run everything on Ubuntu Studio. That is the flavor of Linux that I chose. However, there are many different flavors of Linux out there. And so, what are the benefits of switching to a Linux system? If you're tired of Macland and if you're tired of Windows, moving to Linux is a very smooth transition. Almost everything that you have generated on your Mac and on your Windows system will slide right into Linux. I've never had an issue opening a file from the past, from any of the other systems I used to have. Linux is very, very capable of running just about anything that you have stored currently on your computer. Now, I chose Ubuntu Studio because it is a kind of all-in-one package for creatives. It is basically, it has a video editing suite in it. It has audio, images, a word processor, and all the other, it's got a spreadsheet, all the sorts of software that you expect from a full operating system like Windows or Mac. Now, a lot of people think that Linux is some bizarre thing where you're going to have just a black screen and you're coding all the time and things like that. Nothing could be further from the truth. You can customize your desktop however you want. It's all icon based. It's the exact same kind of environment that you have been used to your entire life. It just looks a little bit different, just like Mac looks a little bit different than Windows. And it works just the same. And it's all free. This is just out there. The developers are constantly updating. You never have to worry about playing catch up or watching your system, suddenly not be able to do anything because of compatibility issues. It is free and it is continually updated in perpetuity. So all the software that you get, like your, you get free upgrades to your, DAW, you get free upgrades to your video editing suite, and all those sorts of things all the worries about those sorts of things are just gone. And it's been huge for me. The channel would not exist if I wasn't running Linux. I quite simply wouldn't be able to afford the computers that I would need to run, a Windows or a Mac system. And I certainly probably wouldn't be able to afford all of the software that would be necessary to do the work that I do. So Linux has been great to me. I thought I would hit a few highlights about Linux and then talk a little bit about how you can go about doing this yourself. Right now I'm recording onto OBS, which is how I do my video captures. Very common program out there everywhere. You may even be using it on your Mac or on your Windows-based machine. However, it just comes included with Ubuntu Studio. It's already installed. The DAW that I use is Ardor, which I find to be every bit as robust and intuitive as any other DAW out there. And you can bring things from your DAW into Ardor without any issue. Other highlights include the fact that it has a really good word processing program. It has great photo editing capability as well. all baked in. There are synthesizer packages also included, like Yoshimi, which is my favorite, and all sorts of other plug-in options and virtual instruments that come with the system. So you don't have to freak out and think that you're not going to be able to have lots of sounds and lots of options if you do install Ubuntu Studio. Now, I'll go ahead and just throw a quick link up that will tell you where you can go to check out Ubuntu Studio online. If you do decide that it's something that you want to try, here's the beautiful part. Not only is it all free, you can also install it, and it has full instructions on how to do this on the website, side by side with your existing system so that you can give it a test drive. Check it out. See if the programs are, going to work for you. You can just have it side by side, click on it, use it, see how you like it, and then you can decide whether or not you want to do the full install or not. I don't believe you can do the full install on a Mac system. However, if you have a Windows-based system, it's easy to wipe Windows off. If you have the old version of Windows and you're just done and there's no longer going to be updates anyway, wipe the system, have Linux as your new default, and you'll be running forever. Like I said, 16 gigs of RAM seems to be the minimum threshold to run everything completely smoothly, and that's a pretty low threshold by today's standards. You don't need 32, 64, or whatever gigs of RAM to run Linux. It's a very lean operating system. I highly recommend this, and this is my second video on Linux. I made one early in the history of the channel, but now that we have a lot more subscribers, I'd like to just share the fact that you can go ahead and move forward into a new world where you don't have to pay for everything, and you can use a relatively cheap machine to run this stuff, and it's wonderful. All right, well, you take care, hit subscribe, share, and like, and also leave something in the comments. Are you a Linux user already? And if not, are you really serious about maybe converting? It is a great place to be, to not pay for things and have everything updated without any worries. Just makes the creative process so much easier. All right, you take care, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.